Geomorphology, a practical application lesson plan activity presentation. Introduction. In this presentation, I will be employing my imagination to demonstrate an activity that I will be using with a group to highlight a geomorphological process in my chosen area. This will be achieved by running a coastal barrier building activity in order to highlight the processes of coastal erosion, particularly that of sand dune erosion and evolution. This will be carried out with S1 to S3 high school students at St Andrews Beach. Pre-activity preparation. Before running the activity at St Andrews Beach, we will first gather together in the classroom to discuss what the activity is and why we're doing it. We will discuss the effects of coastal erosion and the impact it has on evolution and the erosion of sand dunes. We'll also discuss the strategies that are put in place in other areas of the coastline to prevent this from happening. The classes will research the impacts of coastal erosion, the impacts that coastal erosion has on the destruction on the landscape and the economic problems the population have to face who live beside them. Here is a comparison of areas that have different rates of sand dune erosion. The activity. Designing and building the barrier. The classroom will be split into equal groups of around 6 or 7. They will then be allocated one sand dune that lines the coast at St Andrews Beach. Each group shall receive a measuring tape, a clipboard, paper, pens and a calculator. They will measure the current size, height, width and gradient of the sand dune. The measurements should be noted and recorded to later be compared to that of the pre-intervention erosional rate before the barrier was built and the post-intervention erosional rate after the barrier was built. Pre and post-intervention erosional rates will be measured prior to and after the date of this activity. Sand dune allocation demonstration. Each number represents a sand dune area that the group will work to protect by building a barrier. Each group will be given a list of materials that they can use to build the barrier. This will include materials such as plastic, wood, sandbags, metal, brick, turf, mud and so on. Each material will be allocated a hypothetical cost. For example, wood could cost £5,000, whereas metal sheets would cost £8,000. The groups will be given a hypothetical budget that they cannot exceed. With the budget in mind, they must design and create a coastal barrier around their sand dune that will prevent the most amount of erosion as possible. Groups should be given no more than an hour and a half to complete this task. Hypothetical costs of materials and budget should be decided by the teacher or instructor based on their durability / impact absorption. Here is an example of how a barrier could look using different materials. The barrier is in place where the sand dune erosion is most apparent in an attempt to preserve the area to reduce the rate of erosion. The blue arrows indicate the direction and angle of the longshore drift at high tide. This is when the highest levels of sand dune erosion occur. Post-activity discussion. Calculations will be made as to the hypothetical cost of each barrier within every group. This will give them a good idea and introduction to the financial cost it takes to preserve areas of the coastline such as the sand dunes at St Andrews. We will look at what barriers are most effective in stopping or slowing down the rates of sand dune erosion. The group that has the most effective and best designed barrier and loading rates of erosion should be discussed further and look at what materials that had been used. The group will also look at the effects of their barrier in shifting the energy from one part of the coast to another. Effectiveness of barrier will be established from the sand dune that has the lowest rate of sand dune erosion using calculations from the pre and post intervention measurements. Here are my references. Thanks for listening, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.